O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes, of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations. And he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he who first imparted the Vedic knowledge unto the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen on fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes, appear factual although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Dharma pujita kaitravotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam tapatrayon mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamani Krite Kim va purir Ishvaraha Sadyo Hridi Avarudyate Tra Kriti Bihi Sususubis Takshanat. Completely rejecting all material activities completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. This Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam Sukhamukad amritam dravya samyutam Pibata bhagavatam rasam alayam Muhur aho rasika bhuvibhavukaha. O expert and thoughtful man, relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Sukadeva Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful. Although its nectarian juices were already relishable for all, including liberated souls. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 49. I have killed many boys, brahmanas, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors, and brothers. Though I live millions of years, I will not be relieved from the hell that awaits me for all those sins. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Whenever there is a war, there is certainly a massacre of many innocent living beings, such as boys, brahmanas, and women, whose killing is considered to be the greatest of sins. They are all innocent creatures, and in all circumstances, killing of them is forbidden in the scriptures. Maharaj Yudhisthira was aware of these mass killings. Similarly, there were friends, parents, and preceptors also on both sides, and all of them were killed. It was simply horrible for him to think of such killing, and therefore he was thinking of residing in hell for millions and billions of years. So he didn't kill boys, brahmanas, and women, but they were killed in the battle, usually by the mistakes of the foot soldiers, not the Maharati battle fighters. And it always happens when there's a war. There's always what's called collateral damage. Okay, so now, text 50. There is no sin for a king who kills for the right cause, who is engaged in maintaining his citizens, but this injunction is not applicable to me. Maharaj Yudhisthira thought that although he was not actually involved in the administration of the kingdom, which was being carried on well by Duryodhana without harm to the citizens, he caused the killing of so many living beings only for his personal gain of the kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana. The killing was committed not in the course of administration, but for the sake of self-aggrandizement, and as such, he thought himself responsible for all the sins. Well, we see what's happening here is Maharaj Yudhisthira, like Arjuna, is waxing. That means he's being very eloquent and giving an overwhelming presentation why he's guilty. But is it actually factual? Because Krishna asked them to fight. They didn't decide on their own. And so we're going to see what's going to be said here. Text 51. I have killed many friends of women, and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work. Purport. The Grihamedis are those whose only business is to perform welfare work for the sake of material prosperity. This is something like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They're doing a lot of welfare work. But, and I'm not criticizing their good intentions, but ultimately it is not actual welfare work. Welfare work is when you teach a person to become liberated from the cycle of birth and death. They're teaching people how to be more comfortable in the material world by promoting free vaccines and special help for and all kinds of research for AIDS and making AIDS medicines available and other things like that. I mean, it's social welfare work, but it's with the understanding that they're making a huge amount of money in Microsoft and other rich people and other companies own other companies, and they should give back for several reasons. One, tax purposes. Two, to create a good impression amongst the people so they don't hate them and want to kill them. And three, it is good because they're doing good karma in a sense, and they're getting benefits by their businesses doing better. They understand that there's some correlation between the two. So, are those pure motives? No. But they serve certain purposes, and mainly that is let's see, they're not engaged in killing people with guns and tanks and atomic bombs, right? So Now, this is a difference between Bill and Melinda Gates and Yudhisthira. Yudhisthira waged war that killed, 640 million people. That's a huge number of dead people, and it has many consequences on families and children and so forth. So it says here, the Grihamedis. Grihamedis are people who don't follow the Vedic principles. They're married couples who don't follow the Vedic principles, and they're only interested in their own sense gratification. So that's different than Grihastas. Grihastas actually follow the rules and regulations, but the Grihamedis are the people that don't follow. They're married, but they don't follow. It says the Grihamedis are those whose only business is to perform welfare work for the sake of material prosperity. Such material prosperity is sometimes hampered by sinful activities, for the materialist is sure to commit sins, even unintentionally, in the course of discharging material duties. Like, for example, the Gateses eat meat. Yeah, you see, they go to these different restaurants, the high-end restaurants in Seattle and other places. And to get relief from such sinful reactions, the Vedas prescribe several kinds of sacrifices. It is said in the Vedas that by performing the Asvamedha Yagya, horse sacrifice, one can get relief from even Brahmahatya, killing of a Brahmana. Yudhisthira Maharaj performed this Asvamedha Yagya, but he thinks that even by performing such yagyas, it's not possible to get relief from the great sins committed. In war, either the husband or the brother, or even the father or sons go to fight. And when they are killed, a fresh enmity is created. And thus a chain of actions and reactions increases, which is not possible to be counteracted even by thousands of Asvamedha Yagyas. Yeah, people want to take revenge. You kill my brother, you kill my father, I kill you. Right? The way of work, karma, is like that. It creates one action and another reaction simultaneously, and thus increases the chain of material activities, binding the performer in material bondage. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:27 and 28, the remedy is suggested that such actions and reactions of the path of work can be checked only when work is done on behalf of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So those two verses are whatever you do, whatever you give away in charity, whatever austerities you perform, and whatever sacrifices you perform, do it as an offering to Krishna. If you do that, then you'll become free of everything auspicious and inauspicious, and you'll come back to me, Krishna says. That's what those two verses are. Okay, so the battle of Kurukshetra was actually fought by the will of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. See, that's what I said. The Pandavas did not choose to do it on their own. They only were simply following Krishna's order. As it is evident from his version, and only by his will was Yudhisthira placed on the throne of Hastinapur. Therefore, factually, no sin whatsoever touched the Pandavas, who were only the order carriers of the Lord. For others who declare war out of personal interest, the whole responsibility lies on them. Okay? So, this is explained in the Bhagavad Gita also, where it says that personal responsibility is attained. Yeah, it's Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter, I think it's verse number 17. One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions. In this verse, the Lord informs Arjuna that the desire not to fight arises from false ego. Arjuna thought himself to be the doer of action, but he did not consider the supreme sanction within and without. That was his supreme sanction within is Paramatma, and without it's the Guru, Krishna. If one does not know that a super sanction is there, why should he act? But one who knows the instruments of work, himself as the worker and the Supreme Lord as the supreme sanctioner, is perfect in doing everything. Such a person is never in illusion. Personal activity and responsibility arise from false ego and godlessness or lack of Krishna consciousness. Anyone who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Super Soul or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though killing, does not kill, nor is he ever affected by the reaction of such killing. When a soldier kills under the command of a superior officer, he is not subject to be judged. But if a soldier kills on his own personal account, then he is certainly judged by a court of law. Okay, so this is very important. This verse explains why there's personal responsibility. So in the case of Yudhisthira, there was no personal responsibility. He was only acting under the order of Krishna, even though it was a very stern order, and it caused the death of 640 million people. So he's making this big case. It's called mea culpa in Latin. I am guilty. So that's what it means, mea culpa. I am guilty. So I did this, I did that, I killed so many people. People never forgive me. I can't perform enough horse sacrifices to eliminate this karmic debt of killing so many people. So, he's making what's called a mea culpa, I am guilty plea. But you're guilty if you act on your own behalf. But if you act on behalf of the Lord, now how do we know that we're acting on behalf of the Lord? Because it has to be confirmed, not only by your intuition, but by the spiritual master. So those people who, after initiation, they make their own decisions based on their false ego, even though they're initiated, they get zapped by karma. And what is the zapping? You have vaping and now you have zapping. The zapping is that the way of work karma is like that. It creates one action and another reaction simultaneously, and thus increases the chain of material activities, binding the performer in material bondage. Yeah. So therefore it says, Yat krosi yat asasi yat josi tadasi yat tapasyasi konti yat tat kurusva madarpanam subha subha falere vam moksyasi karma bandhanai sanyasya yoga yukta atma vimukto mam vimukto mam tarishyasi upaisyasi. Yeah. So it says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. In this way, you'll be freed from the bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you'll be liberated and come to me. There you are. Although Ramananda Rai quoted this verse to Lord Chaitanya when he asked him, explain to me what's the best thing to do to become self-realized. He said, it's not enough. That verse is not enough. Tell me something more. So ultimately he says, just regardless of what position you're in, you might be some big sannyasi or you might be some lowly grihasta. Just sit down regularly, morning and evening, and hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That's what he said. That's the best way. And then there's two things. One is acquiring knowledge, and one is acting with knowledge. So the Mayavadis, they just acquire knowledge. But the devotees acquire knowledge and act with knowledge. That is, they get involved in time-sensitive devotional service. This is what the Mayavadis don't do. Therefore, their realization is incomplete. But devotees' realization and renunciation is complete because they acquire knowledge by this regular hearing, and they act They engaged in active devotional service. Okay, so I think we'll stop right there. So therefore, factually, no sin whatsoever touched the Pandavas, who were only the order carriers of the Lord. For others, who declare war out of personal interest, the whole responsibility lies on them. There you go. Haribol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Maharaj, during the war, Brahmanas also came and fought the war.
No, they were collateral damage. During such a big war, sometimes innocent people get killed.
Brahmanas, they don't fight like it.
No, they don't fight. Well, one exception would be who? Dronacharya. Yeah, he was a Brahmana who was teaching the art of war, so he knew how to fight it also. Yeah.